Let go of what was never yours. Buddhist wisdom. There is a paradox that we live with our entire lives, one so quiet, so familiar, that we rarely stop to notice it. We grieve over people who have left, over opportunities that have passed, over versions of ourselves that no longer exist. We carry the weight of regret, the sting of betrayal, the ache of words we can never take back. And yet, if we look closely, truly closely, we might begin to see something strange, something unsettling, something that could also set us free. We suffer from losing things that were never truly ours to begin with. This is not an attempt to dismiss your pain or minimize what you have been through. Quite the opposite. It is an invitation to look deeper, to understand why we hold on so tightly, why letting go feels so impossible, and what might be waiting for us on the other side. Because here is the truth. It's not that life is cruel. It's that we've been seeing it wrong from the very start. You have probably heard it before, perhaps more times than you can count. Just let it go. It sounds so simple when someone says it, as if all you need to do is decide, and then, like opening your hand and releasing a balloon into the sky, you are free. But you know it doesn't work like that. You have tried. You have told yourself to move on. You have pushed the thoughts away, distracted yourself with work, with entertainment, with anything that might keep the memories at bay. And maybe it works, for a while. But then, in a quiet moment, in the middle of the night, or when a certain song plays, it all comes flooding back. The pain, the anger, the regret. This is the paradox. We want to let go. We know we should. But something inside us keeps holding on, and we don't understand why. The reason, perhaps, is that we are trying to let go the wrong way. When most people think of letting go, they think of it as an act of will. You simply choose not to care anymore. You force yourself to forget. You tell yourself it doesn't matter. But this is not letting go. This is suppression. And what is suppressed does not disappear. It merely goes underground. It waits. And when it resurfaces, as it always does, it comes back stronger than before. The Buddha understood this deeply. In his teachings, the word for letting go is patinissagga, relinquishment, release. But this release is not something you force. It is the natural result of seeing clearly. In the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, when describing the cessation of suffering, the Buddha used a particular sequence of words: relinquishment, letting go, release, non-clinging. In Pali, kago, patinissaggo, muti, analayo. These are not four separate steps. They are one movement. The movement that happens when wisdom arises. True letting go doesn't come from trying harder. It comes from seeing more clearly. And seeing clearly requires cultivation, the gradual training of the heart and mind through ethical living, through stillness, through insight. So, if you have tried to let go and failed, there is nothing wrong with you. You have simply been given the wrong instructions. But before we can understand how to let go, we must first understand why we hold on. In the same sutta, the Buddha also pointed to the origin of suffering. What he identified was not external circumstances, not the people who hurt us or the things we lost. What he pointed to was something much closer. He called it tanha, craving. The deep, often unconscious demand that things be other than they are. This craving comes in three forms: craving for sensual pleasures, craving for existence, and craving for non-existence. We crave to have, we crave to be, and we crave to escape. And all of this craving, this constant grasping, is the root of our suffering. But why do we crave? Why do we hold on so tightly to things that cannot last? Perhaps it is because we believe that if we let go, we will lose something essential, lose a part of ourselves. We have become so identified with what we hold, with our memories, our grievances, our image of who we should be, that we cannot imagine existing without them. And yet, there is a question worth sitting with. In the 𝐂𝐴𝐽𝐷𝐴𝐽𝐷𝐴 Sutta, the Buddha posed it directly. Is there any possession that you could take hold of that would be permanent, everlasting, eternal, not subject to change? Do you see any such possession? And the monks answered, No, Venerable Sir. Everything changes. People change. We change. Circumstances change. The person who hurt you is not the same person they were then. The person you were when you made that mistake is not the person you are now. So what exactly are we holding on to? Perhaps we are holding on to an illusion. The illusion of permanence. The illusion of ownership. The illusion that if we just grip tightly enough, we can stop the river of time from flowing. There are things we carry that no one can see. Not the weight of physical objects. Those are easy to set down. But the weight of what lives in the mind. The weight of what we replay again and again in the quiet hours when no one is watching. If someone were to ask you right now, what are you carrying? What would you say? Perhaps there is a word that was spoken to you years ago. Someone said something that cut deep. They may have forgotten it by the next day. They may not even remember your name anymore. But you remember. You remember the exact tone of their voice, the look on their face, the way your stomach dropped. And even now, years later, when you think of it, you feel the same tightness in your chest. Perhaps there is a mistake you made, something you did or said or failed to do. And though time has passed, though the situation is long over, you cannot seem to forgive yourself. You replay it in your mind. If only I had. How many times have you said those words to yourself? Perhaps there is someone you argued with last year, and that argument was never resolved. You haven't spoken since. You're both waiting for the other to apologize, waiting for the other to admit they were wrong. And while you wait, you carry the weight of that silence. The anger, the hurt, the stubborn sense of being right. Perhaps there are regrets that won't fade, a relationship that fell apart, an opportunity that slipped away. You think about what might have been. You mourn a future that never happened. Or perhaps there is a version of yourself that you have never managed to become. A successful self. A confident self. And every time you look at your actual life, at the person you actually are, you feel the gap. You carry the weight of your own expectations like a shadow. All of these things, they have no shape. They have no weight that can be measured. And yet they are heavy. Heavier perhaps than anything you could hold in your hands. The Buddha saw this clearly. In the Dhammapada, he spoke directly about the nature of resentment. He abused me. He struck me. He defeated me. He robbed me. Those who harbor such thoughts do not still their hatred. He abused me. He struck me. He defeated me. He robbed me. Those who do not harbor such thoughts still their hatred. Notice what is being pointed to here. Not that the abuse didn't happen. Not that the wrong was not real. But something more subtle. The one who holds on to the hatred is the one who suffers from it. When you are angry at someone, where does that anger live? It lives in you. The other person might be sleeping peacefully right now. They might be laughing with friends, completely unaware of the fire burning inside you. And while they go on, untouched, you are the one lying awake at night, replaying the wound. Who is being burned here? The grudge does not hurt the one it is held against. It hurts the one who holds it. And what about the regret? The self-blame? Who is being punished by that? Think about it carefully. The person who made that mistake in the past, are they even the same person you are now? You have changed since then. You have grown. You have learned things you didn't know before. And yet you keep punishing yourself as if you are still that same person, frozen in that moment of failure. You are punishing someone who no longer exists. And the one serving the sentence is the you of right now. So how do we let go? This is the question that brings people to temples, to therapists, to books. We have all asked it in one form or another. How do I move on? How do I stop hurting? How do I free myself from what happened? And the answer, from the Buddha's perspective, is perhaps not what we expect. He did not teach, try harder to forget. He did not teach, force yourself to stop caring. What he taught was, see clearly, not push away, not deny, but see. Look directly at what you are holding. Understand its nature. And in that understanding, the grip begins to loosen, not because you willed it, but because you saw the truth. So let us look. That event you keep replaying in your mind, where is it now? Not the memory of it, the event itself. Look carefully. It has already passed. What remains is not the event, but the story you keep telling yourself about it. The narrative, the interpretation. And every time you remember, you do not just recall. You relive. You recreate the pain, right here, right now. You bring what has passed into the present and experience it again, as if it were still happening. But it is not still happening. It is only the mind, running the same program, playing the same recording. In the Bhaddekaratta Sutta, the Buddha taught, do not run after the past. Do not place your hopes in the future. The past has been left behind. The future has not yet come. Whatever phenomenon is present, see it clearly right there. This is not an instruction to pretend that what happened did not matter. It is an invitation to see where our suffering actually lives. All we have is this moment. And in this moment, we can choose whether to keep feeding the old story or to let it rest. But here, we must be careful. There is an important truth that should not be overlooked. While the event itself has passed, the traces of our actions and mental habits can still bear fruit in the present. This is the teaching of karma. So when we speak of letting go, we are not denying that consequences exist. What we are recognizing is this: the event has passed. The story you tell yourself about it, that is what continues the suffering. The pain you feel now is being caused by the present moment activity of remembering, replaying, and refusing to release. The event has done its job. It has taught you what it had to teach. What remains is only your relationship to the memory. And that you can change. There is a contemplation that can help bring this into focus. In the Abhinapakavekitaba Sutta, the Buddha taught, I am of the nature to age. I have not gone beyond aging. I am of the nature to sicken. I have not gone beyond sickness. I am of the nature to die. I have not gone beyond dying. All that is mine, beloved and pleasing, will become otherwise, will become separated from me. These are not morbid thoughts. They are clarifying ones. 50 years from now, where will we be? 100 years from now, who will remember any of this? The arguments, the grievances, the resentments, who will care about them when everyone involved is gone? When you truly feel the weight of impermanence, something shifts. The things that seem so important begin to feel lighter. And here, we must address one more misunderstanding. Letting go does not mean forgetting. It does not mean saying that what happened was okay. It does not mean accepting that wrong is right. You can remember something without being imprisoned by it. You can acknowledge that someone treated you badly without carrying hatred for them. What then is letting go? Letting go is simply this: stopping the past from controlling the present. The Dhammapada puts it beautifully. Hatred is never ended by hatred. By non-hatred alone is it ended. This is an eternal truth. And again, overcome anger by non-anger. Overcome evil by good. Overcome the miser by giving. Overcome the liar by truth. You do not let go because the other person has earned it. You do not let go because what happened was acceptable. You let go because carrying the weight is exhausting, and this suffering is not necessary. You let go because freedom is possible, not someday, but now. We always think we have more time. Time to heal. Time to forgive. Time to have that conversation. Time to finally live more lightly. Someday. Later. When things calm down. When I'm ready. But here is the truth that the Buddha kept returning to. We do not know how much time we have. In the Satipatthana Sutta, when describing the contemplation of the body, the practitioner is instructed to reflect. This body, too, is of such a nature, will become like that, cannot escape that fate. This body will age. This body will get sick. This body will die. And when we really allow this truth to land, not as a concept, but as a felt reality, it changes everything. Because if we truly understood that we might not have tomorrow, would we spend today carrying yesterday's burdens? How much longer do you want to hold on to this anger? How many more nights do you want to lose? How many more years will you let old wounds dictate how you live, how you love, how you show up in the world? If not now, when? This is the urgency that the teachings point to. Not a frantic, fearful urgency, but a clear-eyed recognition that this life is precious and brief. We do not have forever to figure this out. And when we do begin to let go, even just a little, something remarkable happens. What remains, when the grip loosens, is not emptiness. It is not loss. What remains is space. Space to breathe. Space to feel. Space to actually be present with what is here, rather than constantly pulled back into what is gone. There is a verse in the Dhammapada that captures this. Happy indeed we live, without hatred among those who hate. Among those who hate, we live free from hatred. This is not describing a superhuman achievement. It is describing a natural state, the state of a heart that is not burdened by what it refuses to release. When you are not carrying grudges, you are lighter. When you are not replaying old hurts, you have energy for what is present. When you are not punishing yourself for past mistakes, you can actually learn from them and grow. This is the freedom of those who let go, not the freedom of never having been hurt, but the freedom of no longer being controlled by what has passed. The freedom to choose in each moment how you want to respond to life. Time, by itself, does not heal anything. Time just passes. The wounds we carry do not automatically close simply because the calendar turns. Healing comes from something else. It comes from understanding the nature of what we hold. It comes from the quiet, courageous act of choosing, again and again, to put down what no longer needs to be carried. You do not have to become a different person to do this. You do not have to erase your past or pretend it didn't shape you. You just have to loosen your grip. Just a little. Just enough to notice that you are still here without the story, still breathing without the grudge, still standing without the weight. And when you finally put it down, when you finally let your hands rest, you realize something that might surprise you. You are still whole, still complete, still free. Not because you were never wounded, but because the wound is not who you are, and the burden was never yours to carry forever.